Hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So where we have stopped in the last class, we have just ended with this logic, right? Okay. This is how you change variables, how you interchange or swap two variables using a temporary variable. And next, here without using a temporary variable. If someone asks you to swap two variables without using any extra variable or a temporary variable, then you need to perform some operation so that the numbers will be interchanged. The very simple operation I have performed is arithmetic addition and subtraction. If you just observe these three statements, you can find that the numbers have been swapped. Okay. Is this logic clear, or just shall I explain this?
Clear, sir.
Okay, fine. So next, Python program to find the sum of natural numbers. See, this program we have already written while we have discussed while loop. Just let me give you a recap. I'm taking a input. I'm initializing two variables. First one is for the sum, and second one is a I, which is a iterating value I. It will be used in the while loop. Here I am using a while loop, and I am running this while loop until it reaches the given value n. And here what I am doing is I am just adding the sum with the value called sum itself plus a variable I. The I will be ranging in the range of 1 to n, and all the numbers will be added, and the sum addition, whatever the sum we get, is stored in the variable called as sum. Here it is a update counter. We increase the I value to check the condition for a while loop, and finally we print the sum value. This is the program to add natural numbers up to n. It's just nothing but sum of n values, sum of n natural numbers. Today we'll be starting with new topic. So far we have discussed some conditional statements like if, else, and so on, and iterating loops, for loop and while loop. So why are they required? If you want to repeat a particular part of code for multiple times, then just to avoid us writing the same code for multiple times, we will be using loops so that it will be repeated the number of times it is required for us. What if you want to break your program at some condition? Let me say you are running some program, and if you met some given condition, you are supposed to terminate the program there itself. Then what you need to do? In such cases, we are having two more flow controlling methods, or let me say some keywords called as break and continue. In Python, break and continue are the statements that can alter the flow of a normal loop. So especially this break and continue will be used in the looping structures, either in a for loop, or in a while loop. So what happens is, when you iterate some part of code in the while loop, and you are giving some condition to the while loop starts iterating, and if some condition in the while loop is true, then you just break the program using a statement, using a keyword called as break. Okay, this is about the break statement. If you just see the example, you will just understand it. What does it do? See, it just simply skips that line or stop executing that line at that particular moment and just go to the for loop again. Let us just see, it is the format how you need to use a break statement. For example, if you are using a break statement in a while loop, in a for loop, first you need to start your for loop, then you need to have some condition using if, And if this condition is true, you need to break the program or break that line of execution. Just that line will be stopped from execution. In case if you are using it in a while loop, then this is the format. If I just show you an example, let us see here. I have written a for loop. Let me say I'm interested to print some values from 1 to 10, and what I am doing is I am only interested to print the values just up to 4, and I don't want the values after that 4. What I need to do is I need to check a condition. If the variable is equal to 5, what I am doing is I am just breaking. If I use a break statement, what happens is that the for loop stops its execution and it just skips the execution and jumps into the next line. Here what is happening? My variable is being initiated from value 1 and it is checking for the condition. If value 1 is equal to 5, the condition is false. So the break statement did not execute. What happened is it just printed the value. It given as the value 1. And when the variable is 2, it is giving 2 and 3 and 4 similarly. And when variable becomes 5, this condition becomes true. 5 is equal to 5. What happens is the break statement is executed and this for loop stops its execution and jumps into the next line. That is, we are just printing the end. This is how you use break in your for loop. Is it clear how to use the break statement?
Yes, clear, sir.
Okay, just see another example when we are using it over a string. So I have not introduced you people with the concept of string, but let us see an example. Here it is a string. It is in the double quotations, or you can also mention it in a single quotation. For value, let me say it is the iterable in string. What does it mean? In previous cases, we have used a function called as range. So it will be varying from 1 to 10, whatever the range you specify. But in for loop, we can also specify something like for value in I. In you have already seen this operator. What does it do? It checks for some value if it is in string or not for every value in string. So here what happens is first value will be taking a character S. So it is assigned to S. Now what it does is it checks if value is equal to I. No, the condition is false. What happens? The value is printed. First S is printed, next T is printed, next R is printed. The variable will be assigned with a value called I. I is equal to I. The condition is true. What happens? It just executes this break statement. So the flow of this for loop will stop its execution and prints the value called will print something like the end. This is how you use break statements when you are using for loop. You can use the same in a while loop also. Let me give an example. While let us declare a initializing variable I is equal to 0 while I less than 10. What I am doing is I am just checking condition. Yeah, it is clear, right? I'm checking for a condition. Let me check if I is equal to 9, not 9. Let me take 7. What I do is I just break, else I print its value. I print the I value with a space. This is what I need to do again. I need to increment my I value. This is the program. Let us see what happens. Haven't I connected to the server? It is connecting. See, if you find the output here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when I has assigned with the value 7, it stops its execution and it terminated. This is how you use break in the while loop. So when are we supposed to use break? In a looping structures, either in a for loop or in a while loop. you can use this break keyword so that whenever our condition is true, it stops its execution. It stops the loop, just it stops the loop and just executes the next line. That's it. And coming to the continue statement, if you see the continue statement, what it does is whenever it is also same, it is also having the same thing. You need to follow the same format. For in a loop, you need to specify some condition and you need to continue. So the difference between this break and continue is whenever you are specifying a break, then the loop in which you have specified this break will stop its execution. But when you are using continue, it just skips that particular iteration and just increases the I value, let me say variable value, and continues the loop. If you just see it here, it is testing for a condition. If it is true, what happens? It continues and again test for the condition. In case if it is false, it executes the remaining loop and again it's test for the condition. This is the flowchart for continue keyword. Let us see an example so that it will be clear. See, I have taken again the same program for variable in string. If a value which is val, if it is assigned to I, what happens is it just continues, it does nothing, it just stops the next line. I mean, for this for loop, it just stops the whatever the statements you have specified in the for loop and just increases the values of this variable's value and continues the program. In case of break, it just stops the flow of this for loop, total for loop. But when you are using continue, it just stops the flow at only this particular condition and just executes it again. If you see the output for variable in string, what is happening? First of all, S is being printed, T is being printed, I is being printed. But when it comes to, sorry, it is R. When it comes to I, what is happening? It is not printing the value, which means we are just skipping that statement. We are just skipping this I value to be printed and again going into the for loop. In case of break, we will not go back to the for loop, but in case of continue, we will just go back to the for loop and print the remaining characters like N, G, and the program is ended. It prints the end. So again, the same condition. Again, if you are using continue while you are printing numbers, and if the given condition has met or if it is true, what happens? It just skips that value, means it just skips that 5 value to be printed. So we cannot find the output 5 here, but all the remaining numbers will be found and we are just ending the program. This is all about the break, continue. So we have discussed break and continue. Next, we are having something called as pass. So what does pass do? Let me just read something. In Python programming, the pass statement is a null statement. It means that pass does nothing. Pass statement does nothing. So what is the use of this pass statement if it does nothing? We'll just see in the example. See, the difference between the comment and pass statement in Python is that while the interpreter ignores a comment entirely, but pass is not ignored. Pass will be evaluated, but it just does nothing. When it comes to comments, the interpreter does not even evaluate the comment, but when it comes to pass, it just evaluates this pass and just does nothing. So we call pass as a no operation. So let me say, now you might not understand in particular, but you will be having some concept called as functions. So whenever you are not sure what are the statements you need to include in your function, but you just need to define a function, what you do is you just define a function. Let me say we use def keyword to define a function. Let me say I am defining some function, but I don't know what to do with this. I think we have this, but I am not sure what to give some statements in this function, what we'll be doing is we just use pass for that moment. And when we have got the idea or when we have got the statements which we need to give in the function, we just use them. So when you are writing a big program, if you are not sure what to do in the next line, you just give pass as a statement, so that at that particular time the program will be executed. But whenever you get an idea of what to be added into the function, you just add it, removing the pass statement. So pass is nothing but it just does no operation, but it just validates itself and terminates the program. Let us see, if I am using this for loop and if I run this, you can definitely expect for an error because I am not ending this program. But if I am using pass statement and run the program again, what it does is it does nothing. It didn't give us any output, but the following two lines which are written are completed. That means they have reached the end and there is no error in our program. This is all about the pass statement. You might not be using pass, but it's just for your information. You just remember that it will be useful in any some other cases. Simple.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, we will get space. We write pass yeah next line.
Sorry. Once again.
We have written pass now there.
Okay.
The second line will be blank or the third line means the next line. For
No,
writing
no.
next, if we get idea, we should write in
No, you
that
can
line.
just remove this pass.
Remove the pass and we should write in that line.
Yes.
Okay.
You
Means
just
that line will be exception.
okay. I just understood that you got it out. What we'll do is we'll be using both and see the output. What is happening?
We are getting output something 7.
Sorry, it is taking a I value. Again, I have given it only for once. So what is happening? Pass is being evaluated, but it does nothing. Again, it just goes into the next line. Even if you write the statement including with pass, there is no problem with this program. Even if you remove this pass, then also there is no problem in the program. It just gives the same output. Okay.
Yes, sir. Understood.
So it's just for your reference so that you can remember. And coming to escape characters. So when you are writing some program, in the previous program, I have used, where it is, even I am not getting it. Okay. Yeah, here I am using end is equal to some space, right? Here what I am doing, for every next value to be printed, I am assigning some space in between them. So similarly, if you want to give a new line in your printing sequence, or if you are interested to give some tab space in your printing sequence, or if you are interested to specify a particular name in the quotations in your print statement, you will be having some escape characters. So purpose of this escape characters is it will be just seeing it. An escape character is a special character that is preceded with a backslash. So here backslash is an important thing while we are using escape sequence. If you just see the examples, you'll get a clear picture. When a string literal that contain escape character is printed, the escape character the escape characters are treated as special commands that are embedded in the string. Let us just see with some examples so you just can understand. If you are interested to print some values like 1, 2, 3 in new lines, what you generally do is you use print statement for 3 times so that it gives me an output. Print of 1, print of 2, print of 3. So the knowledge so far you are having, if I ask you to print some numbers like 1, 2, 3 in new line, in each variable in a new line, what you people do is you just will be using the print statement for thrice and you just print in this fashion. But what if I say you are not supposed to use this print statement for 3 times, you just need to use it only for 1 time. What you are supposed to do, you need to use an escape character called n. Here the purpose of this n is to print the values in a new line. When you are using this n with a backslash, which is a escape character, so the interpreters understands that the next value should be printed in the new line. So if I'm using this, what happens? It prints every value which I'm mentioning in this statement will be printed in a new line. If I enter 4, again the 4 will also be printed in a new line. Simple. This is about the escape character \n. What it does is it just advances its output into the next line. Similarly, if you are using t, it just gives us a space. It just gives us a tab space. Let us just work on this example only. I am just changing to tab. So what it does is the output which you are getting will have some tab spacing. Just it will give a tab spacing. That's it. So escape character \t will give you a horizontal tab position. That's it. So coming to the third example, I'll just show it with example only. I am good. You see the output. What is happening here? If I'm going to take double quotation and I'm using a single quotation to define a particular word in the statement which I'm printing, it is giving me the output. But if I use double quotation, what happens? It is giving me a invalid syntax. So here I am interested to print this good, especially this good in double quotations, but the following program is giving me an error. So in order to avoid such errors, what we are doing is we are using a \n. Now it treats this quotation as a escape character and gives us the output. I am good. So good is in the double quotations. So this double quotation marks we'll be using like that with a \. And if we are having what we are having more than that, so it is the same with single quotations. Let me say if I use a single quotation for just printing my statements, again it gives me the same output. Here I can ignore this special characters like escape sequence also, still it gives me this same value. But when we generally don't use the single quotations, we'll be using double quotations while we are printing some statements. In such cases, we need to use a \, which is a escape character. This \ treats itself as some escape character, and interpreter does not feel it as the end of statement, and it just checks for the end of statement with another ending double quotation. Simple. See, if you see your output here, you are learning Python. Here I am printing Python with in some quotations using escape character called \ with quotation. And if here I'm interested to use a single quotation in the top, if I'm using a single quotation in the top, if I'm interested to use, I need to use \ in before that. So it interprets and it gives me a single quotation apostrophe. And if you are interested to print something like this, so whenever we are using this \, a single \, what happens? It treats the next character to be a escape sequence. Like means if I use a single / here and there is a variable called as t. So t means a tab. What it does is it gives me a tab space rather than giving the output which I have preferred. You just see here, it has skipped the T from this temp and it just given me a tab space. But if I'm interested to print this backslash also, what I need to do is I need to add 2 backslashes. So one backslash means a escape character and next backslash will be printed, including the temp and data. So this is how you will be using the escape statements. In the print statements itself, these escape characters are used while you are printing some output. Okay. Next, let us come to a random number. Let me say random is a keyword. It's not a keyword, but it is a library. What I say, let me say it is a package or a module. What you need to do is you need to import this random module into your program so that you can perform some operation at ease. So what are the operations that you can perform at ease? So if you are interested to select some number in a range of 0 to 10. So just one number. Let me say I'm interested to take 5. I'm not sure I'm just taking 5 or not, but I just want a number in the range of 0 to 10. And I need my interpreter to choose its value. So I will not decide what the value is, but my interpreter should decide its value. It should decide a different value when I run it for different number of times. Like I'm having some functions in this random module. So how to use this random module and the functions which are in the random module are, you just need to import the random module and you need to specify random dot and specify the function name and use it. So let me explain the first function, rand range. So the purpose of rand range is to return a random number between given range. Here I have given, just suppose I have given 10 and I am printing, it just returns me some value. I'm not sure what the value is. Neither the compiler knows what will be the output, but it just selects a random value whenever I keep executing it. Initially it gave me 6, next it gave me 3, again it gave me 3. If I run it again, it gave me 8. So what it is doing is it is selecting a number in a range of 0 to 10 when I am using rand range function. Utility of this rand range function is to generate a random number when we are using in our programming. So this rand range function can have 1 parameter or 2 parameters or 3 parameters. Let me say initially I haven't given 1 parameter. So it default take its initial value to be 0 if I am not specifying. And if I specify its initial value, if you just see here, it is giving what is this rand function. It is having a starting value, it is having a stopping value, and it is having a step value. So it can have a single parameter or double parameter or triple parameter. If I am specifying rand range in a range of 5 to 10 and run for the output, it just gives me an output in the range of 5 to 10 only. So 7, again it gave me 7, and now it gave me 5. If I run it again, what it gives? It again gave me 7. Okay. Now let us see. I am using 5, 50 and again 5. Let us just observe the outputs so that we can understand. For understanding, I'll print these values in some range. Let me say I'll print for 5 times. So what I am doing here is I am printing some random values in the range of 5 to 10 for 5 times. If you just see here, I have got 45, I have got 25, 45, 25, 45. If I run the program once again, the values might change. Yes, they are changed and it is convenient for us. 35, 25, 45, 5, 30. So I'll explain the importance of this increasing the step value. Here what it does is, whenever it is printing a random value, it will just choose its value to be in a particular sequence. We are starting with 5. So it will give it will leave 5 numbers in between. It directly jumps to 10. and it jumps to 15 and to 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So whenever we are using a step value, we will get output only from these numbers. Other than these numbers, we will not get any other number like 42, 2, 3, 4, 11, something like that. We won't get any other values as we are using a step value. Let me say if I am using a step value 2 and see the output, what happens is my values will be in the range of 5 to 20, but values will be 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. That's it. These are the values which we can expect when we are using a step function like this. Hope you understand the difference of using this step function in our random module using this rand range function.
Bro, can you explain me once again?
Once
About-
again,
Yeah.
okay. Something like this. I'll just take this program once again so that I can show the difference. Let us now don't go to 10 also. Let us don't go to 20 also. Let us just take 10 and here let's take 20 and 3. If you people just observe the outputs here, when we are using rand function, the first two are the ranges, starting index and ending index. And especially coming to this step value, what it does is it skips the values in between them. If I run this program, definitely my output will be from these three numbers only, 5, 7 and 9, because they are having a difference of 2. Let me say it is a arithmetic progression. And if you are only interested to print our arithmetic progression in a sequence with R value as 2, then if I use 2 in a step value, my output sequence will be only from these three numbers. No other number will be printed. 99577. Even if you run it for multiple number of times, the output will be from these three numbers only. If I am using something like this, 5 to 20 and 13, my output will be, I'm using a command 5, difference 8, 11, 14, 17, 20 is not printed. That in ending index is not included in this rand function, rand range function. So my output will be just from these 5 numbers. If I'm using rand range in this format, my output will be only from these 5 numbers. If you run it for multiple number of times, still I get the output from that 5 numbers only. Is it okay?
Yeah.
If
So here we kept the range is 5. So that's why it was adding plus 5 plus 5. It would be like, okay,
hmm,
why a part of the plus 5 it was adding? It should be the 10, right? Then why it was the,
no, I didn't get what you're
what is
saying.
the range? No, no,
I
bro. Here we
hmm.
taken the range is 5, right? So
Here,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
when range is 5, okay. So where it was implementing, it was showing the only 5 digits like 7, 9, 9. Only this is comes under the range.
Yeah, here why
Okay,
I'm using 5, I'm just printing the statement for 5 times. That's it.
only
I'm
5 times.
doing nothing with this
Okay.
5. If I just
Ra-
use it 10, it gives me 10 random values.
Okay.
Okay,
And
use me
how
10
these
values.
values are, how these values are coming, bro? Rand range 1, 10, 2, right?
1,
So
10 to rand range can have 3 parameters, a maximum of 3 parameters. First one will be the starting index.
okay,
Second one will be the ending index, and third one will be a step value. Let me say the step value is 1. Then if I print the output, it can be any number in the range of 1 to 10. Okay.
okay,
If I just run it, the number can be anything in the range of 1 to 9. 10 is excluded. Okay.
okay,
It can be anything in the range of 1 to 9. And if I am increasing my step value to 2, so what happens to my output is initially it starts with 1. What it does is it
3.
just skips the next value 2 and it will have 3, 5, 7, 9. So my output will be only from these 5 numbers. You just observe the output. My output is only in these 5 numbers.
Yeah, now clear.
Again, if I am increasing this increasing the step value to 3, my output will be 1, 4, 7. That's it. 1, 4, and 7. Only these 3 are the numbers. Okay.
Okay.
This is
Okay,
all
that's
about the
clear.
rand range function. So, okay, next we are having a randint function. What does this randint do is, it also does the same operation. It just chooses a number in between the given range. If I say this is parameter A and this is parameter B, so randint also prints the values in a range of A to B, where B is also included. The difference is here the ending index is not included in rand range function, but in randint function the ending index is also included. Okay, that is the first point you need to remember. And this randint function should definitely have 2 parameters. Randint function should definitely have 2 parameters. If you see here, randint should definitely have 2 parameters. Okay, if you are just leaving your cursor on the function itself, our Google Colab automatically gives its usage, returns random integer in a range of A to B, where both A and B are included. Okay, if you just see something related to this rand range function, it's not giving. Yeah, it just loaded. If you just observe there, this rand range function is having 3 parameters, but the last index is excluded. The primary difference is this, and the randint function should definitely have 2 parameters. And if I just print for some value, it is 29. If I run it again, it is 30. So the 30 is also included in this rand function. So to show this output, I have run it again. You just remember it. The difference between rand range and randint function is, rand range function can have a single parameter or 2 parameters or 3 parameters, and ending index is excluded in the rand range function. But coming to the randint function, both starting and ending values, ending indexes are included and should definitely have 2 parameters as their input. I will show why to write it again. So if I give a single parameter, it gives me an error. See, randint missing one required positional argument B. It is saying that you need to mention the other parameter also. You cannot skip it. And if I just run the program again, what it does? What happened? Unable to connect. Okay, there is some internet issue. Am I audible? Guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now you're audible.
Okay, okay. Previously, I just lost the connection. So
Okay.
it didn't connect to the server. Again, it is giving me the same problem. 1 minute, I'll just reconnect. I'll just load the site again. I'm connecting to the server. What are all this? Okay. Here we have stopped, right? And if I specify the ending index, it gives me the output. Okay, it gave me some output called as 39. And coming to the another function called choice, the usage of this choice is here the following sequence which I have given, we call it as list. I will be discussing in our next classes. For as of now, you just remember that it is a list. So what does this choice do is, it just select some number which I have specified in this list. Like I have just given some values 1, 2, 3, something like that. And if I am asking to choose some value, it just choose its value to be 7. If I run it again, it is choosing 3. If I run it again, it is choosing some value 6. So whenever you are having some particular values, let us say you are only interested your values to be printed as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, something like in the range of 10 to 100, but only multiples of 10. You just specify them in a list and use this choice function. So it will just choose a number in our given or specified list. That's it. So again, here I am initializing a list. Don't worry how to initialize or what are the conditions for this list. Just to understand this random functions, I'm using them as examples. So whenever we are discussing with this list, I'll again explain you about them. Here choice is, it is just selecting some value from this given list. And if I use a shuffle function and give my a, here a I call it as a list, a to the as a parameter to the function shuffle, what it does is it just shuffles the order of these numbers. It just shuffled the order of numbers. If I run it again it shuffles the values. There is no particular sequence how it shuffles the value, but it just shuffles the value. Simple. Okay. This is the usage of shuffle function. And coming to the random, what it does. So when you are using random, it just gives me a value in the range of 0 to 1. Some what do you call it? Some decimal number in a range of 0 to 1 only. It does not exceed 0 to 1. It will be some value in between 0 to 1 and some fraction value. If you use multiple times, you will get some or the other random number. And if you want your random number to be in some other sequence, let me say you are interested to print some random number in a range of 2 to 3, then you need to use this uniform as your function. This random function is only used for values in the range of 0 to 1. When we are using this uniform, we can print values in a range of 4 to 5 also. Whatever the values, you need to specify 2 values so that we'll get some random number in the range of 4 to 5 itself, 4.35, some number like this. And here, Neeraj, I don't know what
Sir.
is that output. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
So why is it showing only values from 0 to 1? Why it can't take above 1 or any integer value?
This random function was defined like that. This function itself was defined to be in the range of 0 to 1. Simple.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So to avoid that particular condition, what we are using uniform. So in this uniform, we can specify any values.
Okay. It
So
was
there is,
been prepared like that.
yeah, the functions are defined like that. We are nothing to do with them. Here you need to understand the difference between rand range and rand int. They are having common similarity. Next is choice and shuffle. Next is random and uniform. I have just explained 6 functions from the random module, but there are but there are some more functions in the random module. You just check them in your Google. So you just browse them. So you'll be getting some more functions. I cannot discuss all the functions here, but I have introduced you with some functions, some most useful functions and how to use them. If you explore yourself about the remaining functions, you can clearly understand. Okay. And this is, we are just printing some values. This is just an example, nothing to do with this. I'll just delete them. Now I have used break, pass, continue, something like that, right? So, and I have given a very simple examples, very simple example, just for loop, just printing some values or printing some strings, something like that. But let me give you some big program. So what I do is I'll just let you know how to use the break statement in some complex program. Let me say, let us write a program to find whether the given number is a prime number or not. Okay. So can someone say what is a prime number?
Divisible by 1 and itself.
Divisible by 1 and itself. So can you guess the logic? How can I write to find whether the given number is a prime or not? So just I'll give you some time. You just think of it. If I'm just
Let us take a number n. So
okay,
means quotient.
let us take a number n.
The number we have to means if we take a number 13, it should be
Okay,
divisible by n.
it should be
This n
divisible
is
by
called quotient here.
n is called coefficient.
That's the number we are using for dividing.
Okay, the number you are using dividing. Then what is the n value?
Wait, sir. N should not be equals to 1 and 13.
Okay, it should not
1
be
and
equal to
the number we use. N should not
one.
be equals to
Okay,
1
you
and
have given
the
me
number we
13.
use.
Let me
For
say,
example,
okay, the n value should not be 1 and 13.
the remainder, let's take it as x and x not equals to 0. Then the number 13 is prime.
Okay, okay. So whatever the logic you are having is a good one. I'll just implement it. What I do
Let us
is
take 13 also is as another variable like a m or any other variable. So we can use this dynamic variable, dynamic input.
yes, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'll just
Let us
take
not consider it as 13, just we should consider it as dynamic input.
I'll take m only. What I need to do is I need to take a input. First, what I'm doing is I'm taking a input and converting it to be an integer because I am going to perform some arithmetic operations. Initially, it will be of type string. I'm just converting it to type int. Here, if you want, I'll specify entire number. I'm not at all interested to use this entire number statement, but for your understanding, entire number. Okay, what happens? It just asks us for to enter some number, and first thing what we need to do is prime number. No negative number is a prime number, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
First of all, what we need to do is we should
In the range
start
of 2 to
we should
Yes,
start checking the condition. Let me say if I gave some number as 3 as my input, what I need to do, if given m is less than 0, this is the condition, right? For a number to be negative statement. Yes or no? Did you
Yes, sir.
understand what I am saying?
Yes, sir.
If I am giving my input to be a negative number, it just prints that
Less than or equals to also 0 we can use.
yeah, input is invalid. That will be my next step. So it cannot be 1 also. However, 1 is a prime, what do you say, is a positive number. Let us just consider it, but we will start first checking with this condition. If a number is less than or equal to 0, we are just printing input is invalid. And next what we are doing is else. If number is not equal to 0, sorry, if number is not a negative number, what we need to do is we need to check for some condition. You can write your program like this, or I'll change the fashion. What I'll check is I'll check whether the given number is positive number or not. Let us take from 1. Nothing wrong in that, right? Let me take 1. So numbers which are prime numbers are above 1 only. They will be starting from 2, right? Let us take if n is greater than 1, what I need to do. I'll check whether the given number is prime or not. So if this condition fails, for this first if I'm giving a else statement, that is print it is not prime, something like that. Prime number. So for the first if
M variables should be M, sir.
okay,
M.
M. Okay, fine, thank you. If this condition, the first if condition fails, it just directly goes to the else statement and prints it. What if my if condition is true? What if my if condition is true? I need to check whether my given number is divisible by any of the other numbers. So what few people said is it should be only divisible by 1 and 13. that is the condition for a prime number. If in case, if the given number is also divisible by other number, like if the number is divisible by other number other than 1 and itself, then it is not a prime number, right? So I will be using that logic. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
So initially what I'll just take is, I'll take some temporary variable, let me say t, and define it to be value 1. Let me say I have defined this t value to be 1. So usage of this t, I'll just let you know in the further steps. Just keep you just remember that I have taken a special variable called t with value assigned with 1. Next, what I am doing is I am checking whether the given number is a positive number or not. The given condition is true, the given number is a positive number. Next, what I am doing is for I in range of 2 to m. If we divide a number with 0, then it gives us an error. Yes or no? Because any number is not divisible by 0. So let me skip 0. So for a number to be prime number, however, whatever the number you give, it will be divisible by 1 by default. So we need not to include 1 in our range function. What I am doing is I am starting my range function to be from 2 to m. So my a value will be from 2 to m. Let me say m is 5. So my a value will be 2, 3, 4 and 5. If I say m is equal to 5, in this for loop, my a value will be 2, 3, 4. Just 2, 3, 4. That's it. Not 5 is also not included, right? This is the first. What I am doing is I am going to take my I value to be in the range of 2 to 3. And next, what I am doing is I am checking whether the given m is divisible by any of these I values. That is, if I take I to be 2 initially, if given number is 5, 5 modulo 2, what it gives me remainder other than 0 because it is not divisible. So what I am doing is, if it is not divisible, here I am just checking for a condition if it is divisible or not. If I take with an example and explain it, it will be clear. So let me take a value 6 and I am starting my I value to be from 2. 6 modulo 2, it is giving a remainder 0. If the following condition is true, what does that mean? The number is not a prime number. Yes or no? So here what I am doing is I am reassigning this temporary value to be 0. So whenever this condition is met or this condition is met true, what I am doing is I am initializing my value again to be 0 and I am just breaking the for loop. Did you understand this? The so far 3 lines I have written.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's nice. I thought I should explain it again. If at all a given number is divisible by any numbers in the range of 2 to the given input, then it means that the given number is not a prime number. So if it is a prime number, what happens? This t will not be assigned to 0 and it will be keep its value to be 1 only. Yes or no? Let me say with an example, I'll take 7. So what I am doing is first I am taking my variable to be I. It is 2, 7 modulo 2. It is not 0. So the condition fails and it does nothing. Next, if I go to 3, again 7 modulo 3 not 0, 4 modulo 3 not 0, 5 modulo 3 not 0, 6 modulo 3 not 0. So with the 6 our for loop ends. What happens after ending our for loop? Here we are not reassigning the t value. If the given number is a prime number, that means if it is divisible by any of the numbers in the following range, what I am doing is I am reassigning this t value to be 0 and breaking the program there itself. If at all this condition is false, what we need to do? We just need not to do anything. Just our for loop is ended and let us just check. Now what we are checking is if I'm addicted to using this parenthesis, but in for loop in Python, the parenthesis is not required for the conditional statements, but I'm just addicted to it. If t is equal to 0, what does it mean? The given number is not a prime number. If t becomes 0, then that number is divisible by some other number, So t has given its value to be 0, since we say it is not a prime number. But if t is equal to 1, which means the t didn't change its value. That means the following for loop, the if condition is not satisfied at any time, so t will have its value to be 1 only, and we can print the statement like given number is prime number. Okay, this is something like that. Else, what it does, it just says that given number is not a prime number. And it out. I'll just run it. I'll enter 2. 2 is a prime number. I'll run it again. I'll enter 3. 3 is a prime number. I'll run it again. I'll enter 4. 4 is not prime number. I'll enter 11. 11 is a prime number. I'll enter 19. 19 is a prime number. And I'll enter 99. 99 is not a prime number. This is the logic for a number to check whether the given number is prime number or not. Here I have utilized a statement called as break in my for loop. So whenever this following condition is met, what happens? My for loop breaks and it just goes to the next statement. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is already 5. What we do is I'll just give you an assignment which you people need to do it for tomorrow. And that is simple. Print prime numbers in a range, in a given range, simple, in a given range. So I just, what I just said is, using this program, you can just check whether the given number is a prime number or not. So if I give you a number, you can just say whether the given number is a prime number or not. But what if I ask you to print prime numbers in a given range? Let me say, if I give my value n is equal to 10 as the input, what should be your output? Your output should be 3. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is your output. So if I am giving n is equal to 10, then your output should be 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 as your output. What I am asking you to do is, you need to print the prime numbers in a given range. Simple. The program is, you need to print prime numbers in the given range. Definitely you people need to do this for tomorrow, or else we will start again from the basics. Is it okay? I'm not sure whether you people are practicing or not. If you are not practicing, then it's a waste of time for me to teach you people, right? So I want you people to also practice.
Okay, sir.
There is nothing difficulty in this. In this program, you need to do small modification. Okay. You need to add a extra for loop. That's it. I'm not going to reveal other than that. You need to add a extra for loop with this n as its range. That's it. And do some other modifications. That is the hint. You need to add extra for loop and iterate it over a range like 1 to 10. You need to iterate in a range of 1 to 10. You will get the output. And for today, I'll be stopping the class. Hope it is useful. You people just try this program. Just don't skip it, or just don't give some reasons, other reasons. You just try to write. I'll check your programs tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Is that fine? Or if you are having any problem, what I do is I'll just say the solution. But however, you people just try. It is for your use only. It's not for me. Okay. Tomorrow we'll be discussing some more programs. And thank you.
Sir.
Oh, yeah.
So as you have sent the link, can you send the previous class recordings in that file to me, Latif?
So you
That's
need
what
all
you have,
this file.
means I have lost that I did not get backup from my WhatsApp.
Okay, today I'll be sending it. I have updated the content, right? I'll send this whole file again.
Okay, it's all single file only, no?
Yes, it's all single file only, and I'll be
Okay.
sending it. When we are starting data types, I'll start with a new file. As of now, it is a single file.